Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on our YouTube account and we're going to be looking at the Awakened Hero priority. But before we get into this list, we want to take a look at the newest Awakened Hero that we've got, which we know is the Awakened version of Thoran. Now we built out Thoran a little bit right here. Unfortunately, at this point, we are not seeing any utility. So if you're a player that was waiting to see exactly where Thoran was placed, where he was being utilized, it's kind of crazy because it seems like with his skill kit being very, very unique, PvP, I still don't see him in, and I'm comparing the information that I'm seeing right now on the global servers. So we're looking at the Cursed Realm, the Nightmare Corridor, the Treasure Scramble, not really seeing the Awakened version of Thoran utility and really utilized within any of those game modes, but I also do compare it to the test server. So over on the test server, it was the exact same thing. Cursed Realm, looking at the Nightmare Corridor and looking at the Treasure Scramble. The Awakened version of Thoran is not being used over there yet, or maybe might not be used at all. A lot of players are saying it's super underwhelming how he is built, and the reason being you don't have the ability to buff him with any of the support heroes, any of the crowd control heroes, because he intentionally needs to die, and once he dies, it seems like he just kind of gets overrun, or your team gets absolutely wrecked because it creates a 5-on-4 scenario, because Thoran, of course, is dead at that point. But again, it seems like right now very lackluster, and I can see him being used maybe in the Greatborn Tower, of course, just because of the utility and survivability. A lot of players were even running him in some of the campaign formations, not doing incredibly well, even running it within towers. And again, not seeing a ton of utility outside of the other heroes, the current heroes that work incredibly well. But let's go ahead and get into these Awakened heroes. Now, when it comes to utility, we always start with the biggest one. This is still the number one, my number one, which is the Awakened version of Athalia. This is such a mega high utility hero. This hero can be put into any formation. When you start putting buffers with this hero, does incredibly well. Now, even when you think of the new pet, that increases the survivability if you have it up built at 18. The damage this hero puts out is crazy, crazy high, and it scales really high with Athalia. The reason why she is absolutely the first one that we look to build in AFK Arena, and she also does have the SP effect. The SP effect in here, this does incredibly well with amplifying the damage that she is putting out. So she is permanently increasing damage dealt by physical pierce for her allied heroes by 10%. And of course, when you start thinking about this big picture, when you start in even earlier AFK Arena, Athalia will do incredibly well. Now, the second one, big priority, is Leica. Leica, very unique to what she does, bringing heroes in, shielding, and mitigating the damage on the front line. Leica is a formation and run in a lot of formations where she is the best in slot damage dealer, but there's also a lot of them where she kind of comes in the secondary or the backup damage dealer that we see, still doing incredibly well in formations. And I would definitely put her in that second slot, right behind the Awakened version of Athalia that we are building first. Now, the third one, and this one a little bit more questionable, which is Gavis. So Gavis, a lot of players were kind of talking about him. Last time we did our stream, it was very interesting because, again, he is a mage. However, he is super unique in the way that he does, in the way that he works with the methodology of almost a support hero within here, making him a big, big priority to build. Again, when I start thinking of heroes, though, you can sub a few heroes in for Gavis, but nobody does exactly what he does. Even looking at him and Eugene, which is his counterpart, Eugene actually has and does have quite a bit less utility than what we're seeing with Gavis, just because of that support build for a mage that they did possess him with, that they built him with. It does work incredibly well on getting the amplified damage and also getting the mitigation to keep those heroes alive. Now, surprising enough, the next one that comes in the list is the Awakened version of Belinda. And I'm going to run through the couple game modes in just a minute. But looking at the Awakened version of Belinda, this is a hero that, even though the power creep continues to go, it seems like it's a hero that is not going anywhere anytime soon. Because again, burst damage, she is coming in best in slot. Different formations within the Nightmare Corridor and the Cursed Realm, we are seeing her best in slot. She is still being used in a lot of formations within the Treasure Scramble. Again, still working as best in slot. And of course, like I said earlier, we knew some of the formations were going to change. But when you're breaking out the new beast that gives her the survivability or the utility to cheat death, it does make her really amplify the damage that she has going on. And the final one that we're looking at in here, goes right back to our Greyborn, which is the awakened version of Chimera. Now, of course, utility-wise, this hero is used in a ton of different places. Very unique in what she does and how she does it based on HP. When you build her out, and a lot of players are saying, when you really compare the awakened version of Chimera in comparison to like the awakened version of Thoran, it feels like Chimera is a tank and Chimera can hold her own. She has the SP effect. She has the ability. She has the tank and really the tank ability within AFK Arena. A lot of tanks, we don't see it. Even thinking of Lucius, Lucius gets absolutely run over. Thoran, very unique in how he works, and a lot of players not too happy with the way that Thoran has worked and how he is working with the final hero in 2024. Now, looking at some of these formations, when you think about, again, utility of the heroes, viability to really have them in different game modes, when you start looking in, let's say, the first formation here, awakened version of Baden, a little bit older in there, but we do have Belinda, again, best in slot, and there is Chimera as well. So double awakened heroes within this formation. Gwen, of course, the Draconic hero, doing incredibly well. Antandra makes an appearance in here. Right there is Lucius. And then the last one that is hidden, I believe someone had it open down here. But of course, like I said, utility-wise, is the awakened version of Athalia. This is the reason why, again, seeing a lot of utility. And Gavis is also in there. Now, you'll notice most of these formations, when you start getting into a multitude of teams, Gavis is still being run in those formations. And of course, the awakened version of Athalia, like we were just talking about. Then we look at the Nightmare Corridor. Now, Nightmare Corridor, you have to remember, in this specific game mode, it is about burst damage. It is about how fast you can put out damage. That is what the timer is based on. So you're going to have some of your biggest damage dealers in here. The awakened version of Thane right there. We do have Gwen that is appearing again. And there is Athalia for a second time, making her again one of the highest utilities, one of the absolute #1 priorities to build. Then, of course, we have Vika, which is off, Baden, which is kind of off, and then Belinda again. Like we were saying, that is one of the reasons why she is coming in so high in this list, is because the awakened version of Belinda is still showing a lot of utility in a bunch of different places. And unfortunately, right now, I believe this is down with the treasure scramble. We have a couple more minutes, 22 more minutes. But when you start thinking about the formations that start in here, these are the starting formations. So again, thinking of the heroes that are on this list, thinking of the priority, we have Athalia in there, which of course is right here. We have Chimera in here. We have Leica in here. This is the starting formation. The Ulna combination right here does incredibly well. But when you think of the first and really the biggest 5 top heroes that we have in AFK Arena for the Awakened class, definitely works. Now, of course, when you start thinking of niche formations, you can see like the Awakened version of Solus, Eron's in there, Antandra's in there, used a couple different places. The Awakened version of Sophia, again, still being used in a couple different places. Not as much utility as what we're seeing with those other Awakened heroes, but still having quite a bit of utility in AFK Arena when you start thinking big picture. Now, I don't think I picked up all of the additional loot that we get out of the Merchants tab when we got the reset for the Awakened version of Thoran. Now, overall, like I said, I do like the look and the build and how kind of Thoran functionality. But again, I am more based in utility. I'm more based on what the hero is going to bring to the game. And unfortunately, at this time with Thoran, I want to collect up his loot. He's a hero that's not being used anywhere. I don't know, a big miss, on the side of AFK Arena on building the hero, because I know these specific heroes take months. I think they had said before that it takes roughly 6 months to build a hero out in the entirety. And again, when you start thinking of the hero and the utilities, the utility of the hero that we're not seeing at all, it's kind of sad. Here's our treat spectator. I love in the new beast. I have to say I'm pretty impressed with the new beast itself. And there we go. So even here, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I want to pop the new beast in here. Again, the animated avatar frame for Thoran looks pretty sharp, but I do love how he looks. That is so fitting for Halloween, even looking at our frame up there. That is really cool with the treat spectator. I do like that one. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.